So the first thing you want to do is make sure that no matter what account we're working on, debit's the left and credit's the right. And then based on what type of an account it is, if it's an asset, and then you have to figure out what side it increases on. So if it's an asset like this one, it increases on the debit side, decreases on the credit. Accounts payable is a liability, so it increases on the credit side. The capital, owner's equity, it increases on the credit side. Now you have to remember now that revenue increases the capital, therefore it increases on the credit side. Revenue or expenses decrease the capital, so they increase on the debit side. Once you have all your T accounts set up, now go through the transactions, and I'd like to go through these with you. You can pause. I'd actually pause this and then go ahead and try these on your own and then see how you did. Okay. The first one, J. Smith, owner, invested $50,000 into her business. So J. Smith, her capital goes up $50,000 and invested $50,000, so her cash and bank goes up $50,000. And then the other key, we have 50,000 equals 50,000. If you think about visually think about your accounting equation. But the other thing that we have going for us now is, did you use one debit and one credit? So cash and bank increased, debit 50,000 equals a credit of 50,000. So that's something else you have to think about. The next thing, you paid the electric bill. So utilities, you paid the electric bill, that's an expense. So that actually decreases the capital, so we want to keep a running total in our utilities expense. So our utilities expense goes up because remember it actually decreases the capital. So we'll debit our utilities. We spent more in utilities expense. And how did we pay it? With a check. So our cash and bank goes down. So I have one debit and I have one credit. Now the thing I forgot to do that I probably should do is identify this was transaction 1 and this was transaction 1. And then this was transaction 2. And then this was transaction 2. And every time, make sure you look, does your debit equal your credit? Because sometimes you're going to do maybe credit, credit. So make sure your debit equals your credit. The next one, paid monthly rent $1,000. So you paid the rent, so your rent expense goes up, which it actually decreases the capital, but you keep a running total. So rent expense increases, you paid it, your cash and bank goes down. Your debit must equal your credit. And that was number 3. Number 4, provided delivery services to customers for cash. So you received cash, $10,000. Why did you receive cash? Delivery expense. Actually, delivery revenue. So let's look at that again. Provided delivery services to customers for cash. So your cash went up. You provided a service, that's your revenue, and that goes up. So you debit your cash and bank, because that goes up. and you credited your revenue. Sorry, guys. Now the next one is you provided delivery services to charge customers for number 5. So you provided what? A service. That's how you generate revenue. So your revenue will go up 5,000. Did you receive the cash? No, but you will. But your charge customers charged, so your charge customers, your customers owe you money. So your accounts receivable goes up. So you debit accounts receivable equals your credit delivery revenue. So your debit equals your credit. And then the last one, you purchased land on account. So you purchased what? And how'd you purchase it? Accounts payable. You purchased what? So your land goes up 100,000, and your accounts payable goes up. And do my debits equal my credits? So now we have to prove the accounting equation, and we have to prove that our debits equal our credits. So the next step is to get our ending balances. Now, one thing I want you to remember is your ending balance is on your plus side, okay? So for cash and bank, the normal balance should be on the plus side. So you add up you always start with the plus side, so you add up what's ever on the plus side and subtract what's ever on the minus side, and hopefully you have something left over. So 60,000 minus 1,125 gives you 58,875, and that's your balance. So over here I would put BAL for balance, so you know that that's not a transaction. That's your balance. So even though this one only has 5,000, there's only one transaction in there, you still have to put the balance. And I would, if you're doing this on paper, I'd put a box around it so you know that that's your balance. If you put a box around it, then you don't have to write balance. Okay, this one, 100,000, and that is your balance. So go ahead, calculate the rest of your balances. So double check, make sure that you have the same balances as I do. Actually, I'm not sure if they are correct, so let's go through this. So we're going to do like an informal trial balance. We're going to list all of our assets, our liabilities, our owner's equity, our revenue, and our expense accounts, and they have to be in that order. And you're going to put in their balances and make sure that that you equal. So I think I have room kind of right here, so that's where I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to have the account title, the debit balance, and then the credit balance. So why don't I just write that? The account, if it has a debit balance, I'll put it there. If it has a credit balance, I'll put it there. And then when we're done, hopefully our debits will equal our credits. And just so it stands out a little bit, let's change the color. Okay, so we'll start with CIB, cash and bank, accounts receivable, land, and then I gotta keep going. Accounts payable, and who was this? J. Smith Capital. And then my revenue account, my rent expense, and utilities expense. And I'll put all of those a different color. You should be listing yours somewhere. So then I can take a look. My cash and bank had a debit balance, so it goes in the debit column over here. Accounts receivable, land. Accounts payable has a credit balance, so don't get in the habit of just listing them in one column. capital 50,000, delivery revenue, rent. Okay, and then I will use my auto sum button, and I want to add up. And it's easier if you just start at the very top and go all the way down to the bottom, and then you can autofill across, and my debits do equal my credits. So at least you balance. I'm going to actually put a single on top, and I'm going to put on the bottom, and then I'm going to change it to a double line on the bottom. So single on top, double on the bottom, my totals equal